Commissioner
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Epres. You have been a Graft Investigation and Prosecution Officer from 1997 to 2018. What systemic challenges did you encounter in prosecutorial work, and how would you address them from a policy or leadership standpoint if you get appointed?
If there is one problem which is about backlogs in cases. During the time when I started with the Office of the Ombudsman in 1997, I was a Graft Investigation Prosecution Officer 1. The manpower was not that many, Your Honor, so we were overwhelmed by cases, and that's the reason why there were backlogs. But then, as through the years, the number of manpowers were increased, and still the number of cases keep coming. So I guess if the better approach would be first is to be strict in the periods provided by the administrative orders issued by the Ombudsman. Say for preliminary investigation, the minimum is 12 months for simple cases and 24 months for complicated cases. So if we just have to stick with the number of the period provided, and then I think that would significantly reduce the backlogs. During the time of Ombudsman Morales, I think she was effective on that. She was strict in implementing that policy, and so there was a significant decrease in the number of backlogs. So it's more on implementation of already existing guidelines of the office, Your Honors.
Coming from the CHR and your human rights advocacy, how will you balance the Ombudsman mandate of combating corruption with protecting the rights of respondents and whistleblowers?
Actually, the only difference between the mandate of the Commission on Human Rights and the Office of the Ombudsman is with respect to the focus. The Commission on Human Rights deals with human rights violations, while the Office of the Ombudsman deals with preventing graft and corruption. Both have investigative powers, although the powers of the Commission on Human Rights is merely limited to fact-finding investigation. We don't have preliminary investigation or prosecution powers. So, but in the larger scale of things, I consider that if we are able to prevent graft and corruption, if services are indeed brought to the appropriate individuals or to the people, then human rights is also promoted. For example, if corruption results in not giving adequate service or not giving the right benefit or to individuals, let's say, and because of that corruption, the health benefits of that individual is not properly given, then that would also, aside from being a corrupt act, that would also result in a violation of the economic, social rights of an individual. So I believe that they are interrelated, Your Honor.
How do you define moral courage in public office, and can you cite an instance in your career when you had to make an unpopular but principled decision?
Your Honor, when we speak of moral courage, it is doing the right thing, even if, well, as you already mentioned, Your Honor, even if that is not popular, even if you would earn the ire of individuals who are affected by that specific decision. So far, Your Honor, I haven't experienced anyone questioning my decision or having a violent reaction of, say, the decisions I made during the conduct of preliminary investigations or in the investigation reports in the conduct of fact-finding investigation. So far, wala naman po.
Even when you were a graft investigator?
Yes, Your Honor. Although, of course, the aggrieved party has the option or can file a motion for reconsideration. So even if my stand is to maintain my original findings, wala naman pong naging problem.
Any experience in high-profile cases or any political pressure exerted when you were a graft investigator?
During the time, Your Honor, when I was with the Field Investigation Office, I was part of the team which conducted an investigation on the PDAF scam, and during the process, of course, we recommended filing of cases for purposes of preliminary investigation against members of the Senate, members of the Congress. But then there was really some sort of personal attack or any violent reaction on our findings.
And how do you plan to make, if appointed, the Office of the Ombudsman more accessible to ordinary citizens who want to report corruption but fear of retaliation?
One of the programs that I would like to implement in the event that I'll get appointed, Your Honor, is I'll make the filing of complaints more accessible by making it also take advantage of technology. Maybe if there could be a mechanism wherein all they have to do is to access the website of the Office of the Ombudsman, file a complaint, or maybe design an application so that access to the Office of the Ombudsman could be made even through cell phones, and also maybe to provide hotlines, 24-hour hotlines in the central and regional and sectoral offices, Your Honors. So
by hotline, you mean phone call?
Yes, Your Honor.
So by mere phone call, they can already submit a complaint?
Maybe we could just get the details of the acts being complained of, and then maybe dispatch a quick reaction team to substantiate, yes, Your Honor, the oral complaint. Yes, Your Honor.
I see. Okay, that was my last question. Good luck to you, Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.